and I'll be out in the San Diego area as well next week.
All right, let's roll. Welcome, everybody. You are at the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. This is the 230th time Todd Bookspan and I have hosted this event, although we have had other people come in as subs. And pre-COVID, it seemed like one of us was missing every other one. But since COVID hit, it's pretty rare when we're both not on this call together. Right, bro?
You know, our travel schedules haven't quite been what they used to be.
Right.
And so it's been fun. I think we've had a great run. I think there's a few days where I was driving the Airstream and didn't jump on with you. But yeah, other than that, we've been pretty dang consistent.
Pretty consistent. So this is Mastermind style. While we did invite Keith Collins, who may be joining us live. Todd and I wanted to kind of go solo live, but it's not because we just want to do all the talking. We want to try to get some people that we unmute. So if you're watching this in the Zoom community, we will promote someone to the stage if you either have a question or you want to share an idea. The theme is best practices to get offers accepted, to win. And obviously this is a big topic. I feel like I've got a new perspective on it because we're doing this Modern Real Estate Summit, and we've been getting some mortgage coaches to create some killer presentations that we'll be playing at the Modern Mortgage Summit next Wednesday. And we're actually going to play some of those during this meeting. And so you're going to see some of the most elite loan officers in the mortgage coach community that have not only created over 1,000 TCAs, but they've created a lot of videos, and they're really good at telling that story to agents. So we're going to play some of those presentations live right now, and then we're going to unpack it for you. But the goal today is to just give you guys a list. So what are the best practices to win? And one last thing I want to remind everybody, because I've been talking to realtors, more to realtors directly than ever before, and I'm going to be bringing a lot of realtors after the summit on to this community. So you guys are talking directly to America's best realtors and getting their perspectives. But one thing I'm really super clear on is that you guys need to beat cash. They're saying I need my loan officer to not just pre-qual, but I need them knowing that every home they're going to have to compete with multiple offers, and some of those offers are cash. So how can you help differentiate that family, and how do you get that family to make a winning offer? And we need to do that. So Todd, any color you want to paint before we bring Keith Collins on first, and we play his video for what he's going to do at the summit, and then we unpack it?
Well, yeah, let's bring on Keith, and then let's talk about, kind of what I'm seeing out there from win by new users who I've been talking to, and also through just what my own team's doing to compete with cash in the market. And we can kind of, unwrap, I think, some strategies and scripting around that. And then, yeah, I'm super stoked. I haven't listened to it yet, but another one of the big participants in the Modern Real Estate Summit just shot over his scripts of how he's getting his clients to bid over asking price, and then also on what he's talking about, I guess, his counter to the, hey, are we in a real estate bubble? And so I'm super excited to listen to those and share that content with everyone next week at the summit.
Right on. So just to make sure you hear that, you're going to hear agents, some of the most elite agents in America, give you their exact scripting to the buyer. So you're gonna have that. And let's face it, there's no one best script, but you're going to get a whole bunch of different scripts on this. So let's check out what Keith has to say.
Hi all, I am Keith Collins, a modern mortgage advisor using a simple technology to help guide our customers in what is traditionally a pretty complicated process. Check it out. The lowest interest rate is not always the lowest cost, and I believe in 2021 customers may not be getting the wrong loan, but they might not be getting the right one. So how do we identify which option is the right option over time? We have to have a smart, effective, and efficient technology that stack ranks loan options against each other and then projects them over time, right? So one customer might be in a home for 3 years, the other customer might be in a home for 15 years. The same mortgage program probably won't be the right mortgage program for both of those people because they're going to be in the home for longer. So now we're using this technology to help combat a problem that most of us face, two problems most of us face in this tight inventory market. Problem number one, help guide and consult our customers in this crazy real estate market when we're asking them to write some pretty aggressive offers. maybe ones without a loan contingency, and maybe ones without appraisal contingency. But we know, as modern real estate professionals in this tight inventory market, these are the things that we have to do to win transactions. But these are also the things that scare our buyers, especially our first-time home buyers. So we've got to have really smart ways to be able to show them that, hey, we've got solutions in case the property doesn't appraise. The second thing is alleviating the concerns of a low appraisal. One of the questions that I get all the time from a listing agent when I'm calling to advocate for our buyers behind an offer is, do the buyers have the funds to pay the difference if the property doesn't appraise? And my answer most often is the borrowers don't have to. And what's cool is that stumps them, because there's this misconception that you have to come in with the difference if the property doesn't appraise. And that's just not accurate. Let me show you how. All right, so here's what I got. It's a recent transaction that we did for a customer where we're having the conversation ahead of time. They're writing a $500,000 offer, but we're concerned that maybe it's not going to appraise. We're thinking it might appraise for $490 or $480, but not less than $470. The client's cool with this, but they want to make sure that the payment doesn't get out of line for them and their cash to close is within a number that they can handle. So the column on the left, you'll notice we've got some stuff highlighted here. We get a $500,000 purchase, a $500,000 value, putting 10% down. We got a payment of $2635 a month. The cash to close, which includes down payment and closing costs, is about $65,100. And this is where it gets interesting. Cruise over to the right here. We've got it appraises at $490, but the seller doesn't adjust price. So we're still at the $500,000 price. The rate does move up a little bit, and that's where we're using these numbers in mortgage insurance to get creative. You could use a single premium mortgage insurance program, but what we're doing is we're just adjusting the rate up a little bit and using that difference to buy out the mortgage insurance. The payment, $2666 a month, which is really only $30 more per month. So it appraised for $10,000 less, but the payment only goes up $30. And here's where the magic is. Check out that cash to close, $65,700. So we really are only having a $600 increase in out-of-pocket expenses when the property appraises for $10,000 less. Let's scroll over to the $480. So check out a $480 value, $500,000 contract price, mortgage payment stays the same at $2666, which is beautiful. I'm a math nerd. This stuff makes me crazy. I love it. $2666 for a payment. That's only a $30 increase. The cash to close is the exact same. So check that out. The home appraised for $20,000 less. The listing agent asked, does the borrower have the funds to pay the difference if the property doesn't appraise? My answer is they don't have to, because it's only $600 more if it appraises for less than for $20,000 less. And then the big one here is the $470. So we're just suggesting maybe it's going to appraise for $470 instead of $500. This is where we see a little bit of number change, but the payment's $2650 and the cash out of pocket is $69,000 instead of $65,000. So we got about a $4,000 increase in out of pocket, but it appraised for $30,000 less. This is where we create an environment where we can get creative and have confident conversations with our customers when we're having to write aggressive offers and they're concerned that maybe the home doesn't appraise. We can show them that it's okay. If you love the home and still want to buy the home, even if it doesn't appraise for the contract price, your numbers aren't going to change and you're still going to be able to do it, and your deposit won't be at risk. So we really believe that all lenders should be doing this. I mean, the lender is the number one partner that I think a real estate agent has, and we're the number one conversion partner. But conversion doesn't stop at application. Like if we don't close a home loan, what's the point? And if we can't get into contract, there's no way we're closing a home loan. So the loan officer's got to come alongside our real estate partners and advocate for our buyers on behalf of the buyers with the listing agents and provide creative scenarios using programs and tools like this so that we can help the borrowers be confident in this crazy real estate market. So this was fun. And Todd, Dave, I really want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak here in the Modern Real Estate Summit. It's been my pleasure, and I hope this information was super useful. You guys have an amazing day, and thank you all so much.
Boom. So Keith, you killed it. Thank you so much for being an ambassador, mortgage coach. Just to make sure everybody has context, that video right there, you got a sneak peek at one of the presentations of the Modern Real Estate Summit. And you notice that Keith didn't tell what company he was with. He was there on behalf of all mortgage coaches to make sure realtors know that a mortgage coach is more valuable than a loan officer, and a mortgage coach can help communicate with a family with a higher level of value. So I've had a couple of realtors that are among the best real estate agents in the country watch that video, and then give me their impressions of it. Like, what did you like? What didn't you like? Because thousands of realtors are going to see that on Wednesday. And Keith, they loved your video. I mean, it really stands out. I've asked those realtors to look at like a lot of them, and they liked them all, but they gave some of them critical feedback. The thing they liked a lot about yours is you kind of like problem solution. You got to it pretty quick. You know, some of the feedback was it would have loved to have had it in like closer to 3 minutes. Again, they're ADD realtors, just like we're ADD loan officers. They especially liked it because it was interesting. They all watched it on mobile phones. So I emailed it to them, but all of them watched it on a mobile phone. And some of the other videos, they said it was kind of hard when they showed the charts and Mortgage Coach. It was kind of hard to see, but yours really stood out. They said they really liked the way you blew it up. You put arrows at it. So Keith, thank you, brother. Anything you have to say about that video?
Oh, that was cool, man. It's cool to hear that feedback for sure. I was excited to put it together. I'd done it just in my office and on a different version and format, and you caught it and said, hey, I want to put this in the summit. So I called my video crew and said, you guys got to come down here last minute and shoot something. So I put on adult clothes and shot a video.
I was impressed with the adult clothes.
We're glad you did, man. It's going to add a lot of value. And remember, everybody who's giving out tickets to the Modern Real Estate Summit, like it's going to be amazing. Realtors are going to be wowed, but then Mortgage Coach strategies are going to get shared from ambassadors that are going to help you go, hey, I'm a mortgage coach. I can do that. And now you're going to have an edge, because my goal is mortgage coaches win. A mortgage coach offer is better than a loan officer offer. A loan getting financed can beat a cash offer. Now, it needs a lot more than just a TCA. So let's talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to bring Sean Herrera on stage. And then we're going to get to, before this hour is out, we're going to bring on Amber Kovar, and we're going to try to bring on Kelly Zitlow. I've already had Kelly Zitlow on stage, so I'm not sure if we'll get to her. But Todd, anything you want to add, or anything you want to make sure people pulled out of that translate into best practices to win?
Well, I mean, I think that's just the education piece, right? I mean, obviously, Keith, your enthusiasm for it when you're talking about it. I mean, I think that's what makes all of you who are part of this community great, right? You love what you do. And so I just think, if you add that in the video to your TCAs and you're using that in your conversations with the clients, I mean, really when you're trying to compete against other offers, cash and otherwise, a lot of it is how you articulate and sell it to your client, to your buyer's agent, and then ultimately to the listing agent to try to get her or him to take it over. Avery was asking about, really what does it mean when Dave says you have to be cash? And, I've always heard a lot of loan officers talk about, hey, when I issue a pre-approval, it's kind of like a blank check to go out and buy. I was never comfortable quite like that, but every company has a different process in a different way that they do it, whether it's a TBD underwrite and you truly have a pre-approval. And certainly in that case, it is like cash. You just need an appraisal, you need title work and all that. And then you're good to go as long as your client doesn't, quit their job or something crazy. Oftentimes, like in our team, we've got 2 pre-underwriters. One's a CPA, one's been doing it for 7 years. She used to be a processing manager prior to come to work for us. And they'll actually pre-underwrite the files. And so that's the terminology that my team uses when they're pitching a listing agent on why this offer should stand out compared to others and why it's as good as cash when they're saying, oh, well, we've got a $10,000 less cash offer, convincing them it's best for them and their clients. And so I think when you combine all those things together, that's how you hit the home run. That's how you win. Oops, you're muted, Dave.
I'm noticing a few of you call out the fact that it was grayed out. And that was a mistake on my part, so apologies. Do know that before the event airs on Friday, we're going to have these videos available on our YouTube channel, because part of my goal is realtors are telling their loan officers, you need to be a mortgage coach. And I want to give them a way to here's the playbook. I want you to be able to do this. And I also want you guys to be able to use these videos. So these are some of the best mortgage coaches that are using technology and media to win. I want you to be able to create your own videos like this, and we're going to be doing some contests coming out of the summit where we're going to have some rewards for who has the best I'm a mortgage coach ambassador video, And then we're going to be doing, Todd and I are going to be doing this Modern Real Estate Summit again this fall. And we may not have the same leaders and speakers on stage, and we want to see who's creating the best content that gets a mortgage coach, or gets a realtor to go, I need a mortgage coach. So let's play Sean. And then I want to tee up for Keith and Todd. When we get done with Sean, I literally want you guys to each riff with, here are the 3 most important things I do to get to win. So be thinking of what are those 3 things that you're doing? Sean Herrera is going to share a few things that he did. What you're going to hear right now is a personal story. Sean recently bought a house that was highly competitive, and it got to the point where he was he sat in the seat of his own consumers, and he's going to share, one, what he does with his customers, but also what he did for himself. And I think it's a pretty cool story. So sit back, take notes, and then Keith, we'll go with you first. What did you pull from Sean's presentation, and what are you doing to win? Sound good?
Got it.
All right, let's roll.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you're enjoying the Modern Real Estate Summit. I'm Sean Herrera. I'm a mortgage coach and a mortgage advisor in Northern California. And today I'm going to tell you a very personal story. See, the house that I'm sitting in right now, I just purchased this home 2 months ago, and there was 15 offers, and it went $200,000 over the listing price, not the ask price. Those are not the two of the same thing. And I had to do what every other buyer has to do. I had to win in a very competitive situation. Now, there was a lot that we went through in that. It was a very emotional decision, you see, because we absolutely love this house. I did not know I had a checklist. This house checks all of my boxes. Pool, pizza oven, RV parking, and 8 chickens. The house came with 8 chickens. The interior is everything my wife loves. It fits our family perfect. I don't know if it would fit anyone else's family as well as it fits ours. We had to have this house. So we do all our due diligence. We did our love letter. I had a very specific strategy for that. I did a love video. If you're not doing love videos with your clients, I suggest it. And there was 15 offers, and I get that call from the listing agent where she says, Sean, I hate making these calls. And I drop my head in my hands and just I can't believe we lost. I thought for sure. I'd convinced myself with all the legwork we'd done with the sellers. Oh, by the way, my cousin shares a fence. They shared the back fence right here with this house. They came and knocked on the door and said, so we put in all the good words possible, but I was still about to lose. You see, I was 8th in the stack of 15 from a price perspective, and I was devastated. And so I said, well, if your sellers would give us the opportunity, if they're going to do a multiple counter, we would love that opportunity. So long story short, she calls back and goes, Sean, the top offer is $1,650,000, $100,000 higher than what I offered, and $50,000 over my line in the sand. I said I would not pay more than $1.6 million for this house. And I was devastated. I was like, man, $1,650,000 all cash, kind of over. Well, they want you to have an opportunity to match their offer. $1,650,000 price, you have to waive your inspection contingency. That's all I had left. I had waived loan and appraisal already. I think I'm pretty good at doing loans, so I had that one covered. So my wife comes to the office, she's in tears, and it was tears on both sides. It was, I can't believe we lost. And at the same time, it was, I can't believe we have to spend this much for this house. This is insanity. But we went through all the motions, right? So for me, I'm obviously the analytical one. I have to look at the numbers. The numbers have to make sense to me. So I tell you that story because I'm going to walk you through what I did for myself and what I do for all my clients. When you're considering, does it make sense to buy this house? Should I buy now, or should I wait and hope that things come down? I hope that prices come down. I hope that rates stay the same. Well, I know that both of those things aren't going to happen. I know that rates are only going to go up, and I know that prices are only going to go up. You see, because if I didn't buy this house, I'd be competing with 14 other people, maybe more, on the next house. And that next house is going to be more expensive. So I'm going to walk you through Mortgage Coach. I'm going to show you exactly what I did on my personal scenario to analyze if this was a good decision or not. And I'll tell you this, 2 months later, I am so glad that we bought when we did. So let's jump into Mortgage Coach. I'll show you guys the analysis. This is something that your advisor should be doing for all of your clients in a market like this. Okay, everyone, so welcome to my personal analysis of should I buy now or should I buy later? And this is it. This is mine. This is exactly what I did. I haven't changed anything since the day I made this. So here's my $1,650,000 now. You have to match this $1,650,000 all cash offer. And what I was looking at was, well, what if I find a place? What if I just happen to find a place for $1,575,000, 75,000 less? But what I wanted to analyze was, what if rates go up to where they were January of 2020 before COVID started? Well, they were at 3.75% at that point. I locked in 2.625. I did a first and second, by the way, not important now, but all we're focusing on here is 3.75 versus 2.625. So what would happen if I just happened to find a home that was $75,000 less, but interest rates had risen to maybe kind of pull off some of the demand that we're seeing? Maybe now that rates have gone up, people can't afford as much house, so they have to drop their price, and that puts me in a better situation. Maybe that's what happens. Well, let's look at what happens here. Buying at $1,650,000 right now is $80 per month less in monthly payment. And over just the first 5 years, I'm saving $31,000. And that is obviously by way of interest. So just by looking at this, it becomes very clear that paying $1,650,000 for the perfect house right now makes far more sense than keeping my fingers crossed that somehow prices go down and rates go up. Rates are going up. We know that for a fact. But prices have also just been going up, as we all know. So this is the analysis I did for myself to help me make the decision to get me into the home I'm sitting in right now. All right, so that's it. What do we know? We know that rates have been at the lowest point ever due to coronavirus, and we know that what got them there was coronavirus. So we know for a fact rates are going up, and now we know that a house at a lower price point is going to be more expensive if you're financing it. If you're paying cash, you can gamble, you can play and wait for that drop that everyone keeps saying is coming, that I don't believe is coming, all you want. But let's always default to data. Mortgage Coach gives us the ability to show all of your clients all the data they need to analyze their emotional decision. It's my job to put the analytics into the emotions. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have questions, reach out anytime. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Another boom, guys. So, bravo. I'm also going to put you guys on the spot, like pretend like we're American Idol coaches and give some feedback on that. So I love that he made it his own personal story. I loved that he, tied it to, hey, this is what I do for all my clients. I thought that was super slick. I mean, I think there could have been a little better problem framing at the front end, knowing that the realtors, ADD, super busy realtors, the comment was, would have been great to get that in 3 minutes versus almost 6 minutes. The other feedback that a couple of realtors gave is that, hey, I'm watching this on my mobile phone. And it would have been nice if he blew it up. And actually one realtor had watched Sean's and then he had watched yours, Keith. And they're like, hey, we really liked how Keith blew it up. And he had the little arrows flying in. So those were some feedback, but great story, great strategy. Keith, let's go to you. What did you like? What could be better? And then what are, remember guys, we want to give checklists to everyone on this call, best practices for beating cash, winning the offer. What do you got, Keith?
Yeah, man. So what I love about Sean is you always understand his personality and kind of get a feeling for who he is every time you see a video of this guy, man. And I think on the last one, that was kind of just the Modern Mortgage Summit. He did something about authenticity in mortgage or something. And it's just who he is. And so I think that's really important. And so, I don't know if you saw that on the video, mine said take two. The first take, I was so stiff and I don't know what it was. I was not comfortable. And I literally grabbed a beer, drank a beer really quickly, and then did the second shoot. And it just loosened up. I got my mind out of it and I let it run. And I know, look at Todd laughing. I can see this, dude. My point, by the way, guys,
you really had a little shot of whiskey. You should see this.
Seriously, man. But I grabbed a beer, slammed a beer, and did the second shoot, and it was way better. So my point in that is just we have to be our authentic selves, and people love it. And what made me think about this is, Todd, you were talking about video, having video in the presentation and kind of having that personality. And mortgage is big banks are stuffy, and mortgage, it's really scary and nervous. And I'm going right now, we're moving out to Tennessee and I'm selling 3 houses and buying another house. And I'm like, man, this is a lot. And I'm kind of stressed out with all this stuff. And so I think anything that we can do to bring our authentic personality to the table, lighten up, have some fun, get them to laugh and just connect with people on like a real human level is what's really going to make us stand out, and stand out in a very crowded arena, if you will. So, you know, that Sean nails that. I don't know if anybody does that better than Sean from a video standpoint.
So
And
best practices. So best practices, like
best practices.
I'm going to say,
I'm on it.
For anybody who's on the fence, they need buy now analysis based on their assumptions. What else?
So I'm selling houses right now. I got one home that we're selling. We have 15 offers on the house, which is really cool. But this was really interesting. So 3 of the offers didn't even have an approval letter. None of the offers called the listing agent on there. So I'm asking these things when we're going through trying to pick what offer we're going to pick. None of the loan officers called the listing agent, and over half of them didn't have proof of funds, and no one provided a letter from the heart. So it was just really interesting, you know, when we think about like, you know, what we can do to stand out. It's not hard. It's not hard right now because the barrier is really low. And so what we're doing is your agents, if they're writing offers and not copying on the offer, like number one, you guys wrote an offer and didn't copy on it, send me the offer. You need to call every single listing agent. It sounds simple, but you stand out in the crowd. So you call every single listing agent. You send them a video. So I send a text video to every single listing agent, just letting them know who I am. I'm a real person. I'm local. I can close quick, and I've done everything. And then I actually I put a link in the email to them with all my Yelp reviews. So I'm letting them know, like, hey, if you don't know me, we haven't worked together, check out my Yelp reviews. I'm one of the #1 rated people in the area. I'm just trying to do anything that I can to stand out in the crowd. And then now what we're doing, and this is where that video came from, is a low appraisal insurance. Is, you know, there's 30 offers on the property. I'm having my agents in the subject line of the email, if this borrower kind of qualifies for a program that will allow us to do low appraisal insurance, I'm planning to put that in there. This offer has low appraisal insurance. And that's getting them to stop and be like, wait a minute, what's that? And then we're having a conversation that, hey, look, no appraisal contingency, no loan contingency, they're solid. And if it doesn't appraise, the borrowers don't have to come up with the difference. We're totally good. This thing's going to close.
Wow.
I didn't go like 1, 2, 3, but I hit you with a lot of stuff.
No, but you did 1, 2, 3. I hope you guys took notes on that. I mean, you know, Sean had mentioned, you know, the love letter and a love video where he let the family know how much he wants it. So emotional connection. So far we got about 5 bullet points. Todd, what did you think about the video? Do you have any bullet points to add, or do you want to emphasize or put some color around the ones that you heard?
All right. First off, I missed the van. The house looks really nice. I love the fact that Sean has 8 chickens now. That's super cool. My wife would be jealous. She would like it at a goat too, probably. And but he always does a great job. I mean, Keith said authentic was the word he used, and I think that's really the key, right? In the video, is he comes across, and I think the personal story sells. You know, I agree that if it was a little bit shorter, that would have been great. Certainly didn't have the video quality that Keith's had that slight echo if you're going to be hypercritical, but I think it's rock star solid, and everyone's gonna love that. And I think anytime someone adds a personal story to it, it's going to dig in even more. The love letter and love video thing, you know, I'm seeing a lot of conversations in the Facebook real estate agent groups that I'm in around, I don't know what they're calling it, some type of discriminatory concerns that people feel like that's going to be a problem. So just know you may get some pushback from some of your agents on doing that, because they're concerned that if someone learns about the family, that may end up being some discriminatory lawsuit down the road. I don't really know what the NAR, but it sounds like some areas are enforcing that or encouraging their agents not to do it. So if you do get pushback, don't get stuck on that. But I think Keith really nailed it. I think, you know, kind of as, you know, as I said, our team, our #1 is to educate the client, you know, pre-underwrite the loan so we got them in the best position, right? So however you're going to structure that, and then have that conversation around the appraisal gap strategy so that the client is crystal clear on it. Because oftentimes what I hear when I'm talking to realtors around the country is that their client was confused about it. They ended up using the strategy successfully, but the client was confused, which leads me to believe that they weren't using Mortgage Coach, #1. But ultimately, make sure the client's on board, and then educate your agent, just like Keith is, right? Calling it appraisal insurance, right? That's such a strong word. In fact, it kind of scared me the first time I heard it. I thought, oh gosh, he's offering insurance on it. But you know what? It makes sense. If you've got your client on board and they've got the loan structured properly and the big enough down payment, we all know it works. And so number one is to get that client on board. Number two is to get your buyer's agent on board. And then number three is to do all the things that Keith just said and sell it to the listing agent, because that's really where it all comes in. And obviously in Sean's story, what I love so much is because they had done so much to get into the hearts of the sellers and to the listing agent, that listing agent gave them the opportunity to come in at the end, right? I think, it's when Keith, who is the gentleman we brought on, your realtor buddy who's got the 650 agents up there at the Realty One group?
Greg McClure.
Yeah. So when Greg came on, one of the things my takeaway was, I love asking the question, hey, what's it going to take to make your seller happy and to want to make this transaction a success? And I think when you can ask that question, you get that close. That's where Sean nailed it, because they were already had that connection. And so in the end, the buyer still wanted their money, right? They weren't going to take less money, but they said, hey, if you can match it, we'll take it. And so if you can be part of that conversation, so that when it does happen, if that listing agent's not going to call your buyer's agent, but they're going to call you, wow, then you're really a hero.
I think one of the really great things that he said, and you're on point there, man, is like he said, always default to the data. And the emotion's already there in this, right? Emotionally, the borrowers want the home, right? We got that down typically, but the fear is around the numbers. That's what the fear is. That's the concern and angst all comes around the numbers. And so defaulting to the data and explaining in a really clear way of how this change impacts them right now and in the future is where you overcome that objection, and being the lender that has the ability to show that clearly to a customer that, hey, look, like if we wait and the interest rate goes up, you're actually going to pay more. There are tools out there like Mortgage Coach that allow us to do that. And again, you just got to be awesome right now. And that's one of those things. I don't know how you have that conversation with the borrower without a tool like Mortgage Coach. And then Todd, I want to go too. And Cal DRE actually came out and said it's discriminatory to do a love letter. So that's in California, it's a problem right now because they're looking at it and saying, hey, if one couple is of a certain race and another couple is of another race, potentially there's discrimination based on a love letter. So I'm not doing love letters. I'm doing a video to the listing agent about how qualified my borrower is, to let them know who I am and that it's not a matter of if, we just need you to accept the offer, we're closing.
All right, guys. So I also want to bring some of the color I've gotten from some realtors that have watched these videos, and they're the way they see it is it's my job, the agent, to find the home, negotiate the home, and make sure that it's emotionally connected to the family. And the loan officer's first and foremost job is to keep their promises and close on time. Like when you give them a list, what are all the things that are most important? Rate's not most important. Closing the loan on time and keeping every promise you made is most important. But getting that consumer comfortable and confident to make the offer necessary to win, that requires a coach. That requires a mortgage coach. And to make sure that they not only understand the monthly benefit, like whether it's a cost of waiting, whether it's an appraisal gap, whether it's a rent versus own, make sure they understand the number. What does that mean to you 5 years from now? What does that mean for you 10 years from now? It's never been more important that you're helping the family vision cast. Again, they already have the emotion for the home. The realtor's keeping the emotion alive for the home. But if you can go beyond the transaction and be a pre-qualifier and give them clarity, confidence, and transparency around what it means to them today, 3 years from now, and 10 years from now, you're crushing your competition. You're improving the chance that family will make a winning offer. And remember, guys, this is how you're picking up market share. Every time you're up to bat, like Keith is additioning and showing what a badass agent, what a badass loan officer he is with listing agents. Like, you don't always have the opportunity to get the listing agent's attention. And in this market, it's like every single one of them is like, watch what I do. And Keith's going to pick up market share. Mortgage coaches are going to pick up market share. So Keith, I'm going to have you say one more thing. And then, hey, I do want to do this, guys. We're about halfway through this. I'm going to play one more video. And then we want to, I see a question in here. What is appraisal insurance? One, this is recorded. And two, Keith will speak to that again after this next video. But any questions you have, whether you're watching this in Facebook, right now, guys, the Facebook community, you're getting beat from an engagement standpoint by the Zoom community. We got a lot more questions in Zoom than Facebook. So Facebook crew, let us, ask us questions. Keith, what'd you want to say, bro?
Yeah, so with the, we can talk about later what the low appraisal insurance is, but with that, we're not only advocating for our buyer to get our buyer in contract, I'm also trying to get business from a listing agent. So there's two opportunities here and from a listing agent standpoint, with the misconception is that the property doesn't appraise, the borrowers have to make up the difference. That's a misconception. Unless the borrower's putting minimum down, that's just not the case. And so I'm also going to my listing agents, the agents who typically take listings, and I'm letting them know, like, hey, if you have a buyer that's in contract and the property doesn't appraise, and you look at the offer letter or the contract and they're putting 10% down, there's no reason your seller needs to reduce the price because the borrower's cash to close doesn't have to change. We can transfer in that appraisal, take that value that you have in that appraisal and close the transaction without the borrower's funds to close changing. And so it's for us, it's two huge opportunities, helping our buyers, agents, and borrowers get into contract, but pulling business away from people who don't know how to structure the files.
All right, so let me throw one other thing that was a takeaway from Sean's video that I want to make sure we shine a light on, is that he said that he had a personal limit of what he was willing to pay. And remember, your clients have that too, and the data speaks. And so he used the TCA to convince himself to bid higher. And that was one of the other big things. I don't know why I forgot to mention it before, but I think that's really critical because, my wife and I have been looking at houses and kind of had that same kind of gut reaction. And, we're looking at downsizing and it's kind of funny. I mean, the house would be half the price of our current house and we're going to sell our house for probably $200,000 or more than we thought we would. And I'm quibbling over, $5,000. And I'm like, all right, let's get over it. So remember, everyone has that. Look at the data, help people make choices. And then Dave, after we watch this next video too, Jim was asking us about selling tickets for scripts on passing out passes for the Modern Real Estate Summit. We've actually got a very large organization, over a couple billion in production of big loan officer teams that are just getting their passes literally today and starting the process with their agents. So there's definitely plenty of time and plenty of great scripts. So we'll make sure that we cover that as we go through the rest. It's not too late to get your agents on board for the summit next week.
Yeah, and we'll show some resources on that. And just a little hint where the Easter eggs are. In our Facebook group, there's a topic. And so if you just click on that topic, Modern Real Estate Summit, there's about 15 posts that are all, assets. It's like, what is Jeremy Forcier saying? What is Amber Kovar saying? What is Keith Collins doing? And so we'll show that in a minute, but let's do another one. And here's where I want to also expand the box. This is a great opportunity to build relationships with listing agents and help agents get listings. The only thing they love almost as much is help me win, get my buyer to optimize their personal limit, which in many cases means expand their personal limit. To do that, you need to do a cost of waiting. To alleviate fear, you need to do an appraisal gap. To get a first-time home buyer clear on whatever the optimal personal limit is, you got to do a rent versus own. But let's see what Amber Kovar's doing. She's going to do 2 presentations at the Modern Real Estate Summit. She's going to do one on the appraisal gap because she was kind of the OG appraisal gap mortgage coach that shared this at Scriptapalooza. But she's also going to show her move-up strategy. So let's check it out. And then, guys, we'll get all your questions answered. Here we go. Amber Kovar, mortgage coach, grandmaster ×3. She's done over 3,000 total cost analysis.
Hey, it's Amber Kovar, a 17-year mortgage veteran, and I have been part of the mortgage coach community for over a decade now. And I am so honored to have the opportunity to share with you a strategy that we've been using with great success with our clients. We call it our move-up strategy. And really, this was just developed as we've been talking to so many clients about the opportunity to refinance. And in a lot of cases, you can just take that conversation from, okay, client, here's your numbers on a refinance. Let us know if this is something that you want to do. But we decided to take it one step further. And when a client comes to us asking about a refinance, we dig a little deeper to make sure and just say, hey, client, just curious, is the home that you're in right now the long-term home? Does it meet your current needs and desires? Or have you had any interest of potentially looking to move up into a different home? Because In my 17 years in the business, I don't think I've ever seen a better opportunity for you to be able to release the equity that you have built up into your home and transfer it into a different home that better meets your needs. And then I walk them through this example on my total cost analysis so they can really easily see what all these options look like for them. Let me show you what that looks like. So you can see on this analysis that we ran the first option just showing them what their current mortgage was so that we could use this as a comparison. So they were at 4.25 with a monthly payment of $21.77. On a refinance at the time, we would be able to lower their interest rate by 1%, which was creating almost a $400 a month savings for them. But in talking to this client and asking the additional questions, they said that they really needed a home office. The husband was now working from home. He was working out of the bedroom. It was not the ideal situation. And we figured out that for about $100,000, they should be able to move up into a home that would get them that home office. So we ran some numbers at $575,000. And for this scenario, I was able to qualify the clients to buy the home before they sold, which is always the situation that we're going to look for. And so I said, let's figure out where we could come up with the minimum down payment of 5%, since we're not selling first and releasing that equity. And so they were able to take out a 401k loan. So the 5% down, here's the loan amount, the interest rate, and the approximate monthly payment of $31.04. Now, this was creating a payment that was $927 higher than their current monthly payment. But what I was able to show them was that after they sell their home, they've bought the new home, they've closed, they're in it, they have the home office, now their realtor is going to go sell their previous primary, and they're going to release all the equity that they've built up. And in this case, they had about $150,000 that they could put into this new home purchase. So after the sale, we went ahead and showed them a recast, which is when we put additional principal against the loan that we just closed, and we lowered that loan amount down to right about $424,000, which gave them a new monthly payment of $24.04, which means they got into their new home that met their needs for only $227 more than they were paying on their current house. They were so thrilled, and we're reminding clients that the equity they have in their home is kind of like monopoly money. It can come and it can go. There's no guarantee that that $150,000 was going to stay in there forever. So why not get out of that and transfer that equity into the home that they're so much happier to be in, that's creating quality of life for them. And if you're the one that is explaining this to them, you're going to make such a difference in their life. If you have any additional questions on that strategy, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I hope this was impactful for you and your clients. Thank you.
So guys, amazing clarity and confidence. And there's a lot of families that can move up and actually have a lower monthly payment by, as Amber said, transferring their equity from the home that doesn't meet their needs, isn't their dream, transfer that equity into the home that does meet their needs. Notice her language. Notice how careful she was with her words, how authentic she was with her words. And then she made it clear. She made it simple. And one of the things I am looking for, no promises to anyone on this call, but I would love to see just a pure move up analysis. This was like a refi versus a move up analysis. I am looking for a great presentation. And Keith, challenge to you, anyone that can turn around just a great 3, no longer than 5-minute presentation, we might be able to get it in the live show, and we'll definitely get it into the 30-day pass. So for any mortgage coaches out there, I'm looking for a great story and strategy, well articulated like Amber did, where it's not refi versus move up, it's just pure move up. Column A is this is where you're at. Column B is you buy the new home and how much your payment is. And then column 3 is you sell the home, you transfer the equity, and you recast the mortgage. So Keith or anyone that wants to do that, if you do create one, you can't mention your company name. You can't sell yourself. You have to sell the fact that I'm a mortgage coach. My name, I'm a mortgage coach, and then tell a story and a strategy. So there is an opportunity. If you do it, just email me, private message me, post it in our Facebook group, and Todd and I will consider it for the live show. We do have more opportunity. We might be able to fit you in the live show. So Keith, unpack it. What did you like? Is there any feedback to make that better, and any takeaways that you'd give the audience?
I mean, I think she did a great job. Lighting was awesome. I think a lot of times in video, when I see lighting, the lighting's not great. And so I think her lighting was perfect. I think she spoke directly to the camera, which is really important. A lot of times people aren't speaking to the camera. The message was clear. I like how she brought up the information. And, you know, what I love about the message that she had specifically and how it relates to kind of mortgage is, you know, all the realtors in 2020 knew that all our loan officers were just doing refinances. We're not calling our real estate agents. We're busy and happy off of refinances. And I think there might've been a little animosity, you know, in the real estate community against mortgage professionals because of the opportunity that we had, and they were struggling. And so what I love about her message is she's really sharing with her agents, like, I'm advocating for you to find opportunities for you guys when people are calling me out of refinance. You know, the easy road for me there is just to do a refinance, close a transaction, make a commission, save the client some money. But she's actually going the extra mile to see if she can help get what the buyers truly need, alleviate the concern that they have about this actually being able to work, but they can need business back to her real estate partners, which is massive. So I like what she's done there based on what we just went through.
Are you doing any that kind of move up analysis where you're showing a family, this is where you're at, this is where you could be, and you're helping agents get listings and get move up buyers in the market?
So I am not to the extent of what she's doing here, but I wrote it down to clean up my move up analysis. We do a recast, and so we're doing something really similar where you're getting money. You know, just take money from your IRA, put 5% down, and then do a recast and remove the MI. There's a question there that we can jump into in the panel about how that happens. So we do it. I don't think I'm doing nearly as good a job as she is in terms of explaining it, and that's going to be my next video.
Well, first of all, if you want to try to get in the show, you killed it, bro. So you are invited back to the, add a second video. Michelle, Amber's also going to be doing a single premium MI strategy in the main show. And I do want to play one more video before we run out of time here of Kelly Zitlow, because the thing I love about what Kelly did is she made a video for the show, but she also made a video for her YouTube channel. And so I think it would be a great example of seeing what Kelly's doing and how she's actually putting things in her YouTube video for her own realtors, what she did in the show. And I just think every loan officer, if you are not creating a video like Keith did, like it's in our Facebook group, the video that Keith did where you saw the one he did for the show, he did one for his realtors, for his audience, where he was selling himself. And he was, driving it. The only advice, Keith, I thought you could have done better on the one that you did for your agents is that you said you showed Mortgage Coach, but you didn't really, in your close, you see the numbers I just did? I want to do that for every single one of your buyers. And then I think you could also say, hey, to all you listing agents out there, have me come in and consult so that if someone does have an appraisal gap, I may be able to save that deal. Like, I think cross qualifications with listing agents is a big deal in this market. I don't know how many loan officers are working with their listing agents to make sure that they're always cross qualifying buyers, but something to think about. Hey, Todd, before we bring on Kelly Zitlow, anything you want to say about Amber?
One thing that really impressed me was just how opposite of me, how patient and slow and articulate she is. She does a great job. One of the things in that book, Hook Point, that really stood out to me was that Brendan Kane says in there that when they studied the top YouTube influencers, it's the fact that they enunciate their words better than everybody else that makes people watch it. And I really thought of that when Amber was doing what she was doing. And I know you've recently connected with Brendan, so I'm even more excited to see that he's going to be part of our community.
So yeah, guys, small world story, but this is a book I'm reading. It's a bestseller. Over 1 million books have been sold. It's Hook Point. Keith, buy it today. The subtitle is How to Stand Out in a 3-Second World. And this guy is like the social media consultant for, I don't know, name a big star, many of the biggest stars. He has been their consultant, to help them get more views on their videos, to help them create memes, to help them go viral. One of the top guys, Taylor Swift, he tells a Taylor Swift story. He tells what's the Disney animated pictures, Pixar. He tells a story of how he helped Pixar, and he actually unpacked the Pixar formula for why they're so successful. So we got him on stage. So he is going to be delivering about a 10-minute message at the Modern Mortgage Summit, which is going to be a modern real estate summit. So Keith, anything you want to say before I bring on Kelly?
I just bought the book.
Well, plus his other book is A Million Influencers. He actually got 1 million followers on social in 30 days. I mean, I can't wait to read that.
No,
that's the same person who wrote that book?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 million followers. I've read that book. That's a really good book, 1 million followers.
Well, I think it's 1 minute on Instagram that he did, but whatever.
Yeah, I think that's where a place where I can get a lot better. And I just wrote a note down. I'm going to do a video about low appraisal insurance specifically to listing agents. And my catch is going to be, if the property doesn't appraise, your sellers don't have to lower the price. Or maybe it's, stop lowering your sales price when the property doesn't appraise. I think that's going to be cool. I'm going to fire that off.
All right. We can't wait to see it. So guys, we're going to go through this, then we're going to unpack it. We might go a few minutes over today because there's just so much value, and I think it's so important to get this stuff out. So let's see what Kelly Zitlow has to share on stage at the Modern Real Estate Summit next week.
Kelly Zitlow here, and I have been lending for over 25 years. However, one would say, is she old school or is she new school? Or what I'd like to say is, am I modern? And I tell you, as a real estate agent, this is something that you want to be talking with your loan officers about, because the business has changed. How we present information to the buyer has changed. And Mortgage Coach for me has made such a huge difference, not just in my business, but for my real estate partners, because we're able to take very complex types of scenarios and chunk them down. Let's face it, today it's a seller's market, right? So we are seeing appraisal contingency waivers. We're seeing houses appraised for less than the purchase price. We're seeing buyers having to come up with money between the down payment on the appraised value and the spread between the appraised value and the purchase price. Lots and lots and lots of different things happening today. And my go-to is back to Mortgage Coach. I've been a Mortgage Coach user now for, probably close to 9 or 10 years. And I went to it back then because I saw that the writing was on the wall. Mortgage Coach allows a loan officer to provide not just modern technology. It's cool. Our buyers can view it on their cell phones. They can be out shopping and just pull up that analysis to say, what was that estimated funds to close or payment on that particular price range, etc. But we also use it during the process. So in this market, now more than ever, we're having conversations with our buyers up front, and we are using modern technology to break down barriers so they are fully equipped to succeed in this market. So this cost analysis that I put together, honestly, I probably talk about this at least 10 times a day right now, but it's really the strategy that helps our real estate agents. So if I'm in line with the real estate agent and the buyer, then we all really understand what's about to happen. So they're out there, they're looking for a house, they write an offer, maybe they're in a multiple offer scenario, imagine that, right? And now what? So the house is likely not going to appraise, the purchase price comes in higher than that list price. We use Mortgage Coach, this modern technology, to be able to break down the barriers and have complete transparency in how all the numbers work. So old school, that was a good faith estimate, right? And showing 10 different good faith estimates and trying to compare line item by line item and funds to close, forget it. That's old. This is modern, and this is the secret sauce. So in this particular analysis, I am showing a real life situation. The list price was lower than the purchase price. So the purchase price ended up being $650,000. In this scenario, I'm showing 4 different options. So the first column is going to assume a $650,000 purchase price and a $650,000 market value. So this is best case scenario. The buyer's putting 20% down and their estimated funds to close are $136,260. Boom. Now we get into real life. The second scenario shows purchase price of that $650,000, but the house appraises at $600,000. Now this is where having this type of technology really helps to elevate the buyer. So now they really understand, what does that mean? We think it's very logical. We think it's obvious. Well, it's not. And Mortgage Coach and having this type of modern technology helps us to be able to show buyers side-by-side comparisons of their option when the house doesn't appraise. So scenario 2, purchase price $650,000, appraisal at $600,000. They're still going to put 20% down. So in the lending world, the 20% down comes off of the lower of the purchase price or the appraised value. So now option 2 is showing 20% down of $600,000 plus the difference between the purchase price and the appraised value. So now we're able to show them their total funds to close, including all of their estimated closing costs. So now you'll see their funds jump to $176,242 in scenario 2. Well, maybe they were only banking on coming out of closing with $140,000, $145,000. This is where we can use Mortgage Coach and start to get strategic and show buyers, okay, so if the $176,000 is too much and that's out of your comfort zone, here's another option. So scenario 3 allows us to show a 15% down payment. And again, that 15% is coming off of the appraised value. Plus they're still paying the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. But now our funds to close are $146,000. That may be a little more in line with what they were thinking, because remember, the initial estimate of the funds to close was $136,200, right? Now, maybe that's still a little bit too much. Our fourth scenario actually shows the buyer what happens if they do 10% down, as well as the spread between the purchase price and the market value. And that is showing an estimated funds to close right around $116,000. So scenario 4 is actually less than the initial 20% down quote. So what's the catch? Well, the catch is they're going to pay mortgage insurance if they're doing less than 20% down. But if funds to close is the most important thing, then at least we have brought a solution to the table. And in addition to that, we can use Mortgage Coach to actually show them what's the payment difference based on each of these scenarios. You're going to want to be using a loan officer that buys into this modern technology, because I'm telling you, it's a game changer.
So guys, how cool is that every single one of you, we've got Kelly Zitlow selling you. You're a mortgage coach. We've got Kelly Zitlow making it clear how a Mortgage Coach loan officer is better. You know, personally, I loved the video transitions. Like, we had a lot of Kelly. We could always see her. We always connected with her. And then even when she did an edit and she blew it up and she pointed at it, you could still see Kelly. So Shay, because I know who did the editing, you killed it. The editing was exceptional. The lighting was great. I even love that little extra camera angle where we could see Mortgage Coach. I mean, and by the way, Kelly did it. I mean, she opened it and framed it around, here's all the problems that you have. Then she's like, solution. Clearly, Kelly has gone to amplify, and she is a master influencer and communicator. Keith, what were your thoughts on that, and any takeaways as we go into wrap-up mode?
Yeah, I mean, I think she did a great job. I love the second camera angle, which is super cool. Kind of came in there at the end, gives me a better feel for her and kind of what's around her, and the professionalism that she puts out there. From a number standpoint, you know, I think the only thing that I've used differently in that scenario is a single premium MI buyout. You know, we had a very similar situation where the property didn't appraise. It appraised like $15,000, $20,000 less when the borrower was putting 20% down. And it was like a $900 single premium buyout for MI. And so the property appraised for $15,000, $20,000 less. The borrower's cash to close changed only like $900, and the payment stayed the same. But outside of that, I think she did a really good job. And I like the personality again. Like, I love the personality in the beginning. You know, I've been in the business for this long, but that doesn't mean I'm old and stuffy. I'm still modern, and she kind of goes into it, you know, which I really love. Like, I was smiling at the beginning of that video, and that's what we want. It's perfect.
Todd, as we go into wrap up mode, any comments on the video and anything you want to make sure people get away from today's call?
Yeah, I think she totally crushed it. I think the only thing that I would do differently, and it kind of goes along with what Keith said, I would have showed a scenario with the single premium buyout and the cash to close exactly the same, right? I wouldn't have kept it in even 10 and 15% buy downs. I would have thrown in a scenario where it showed, because I think that's really the appraisal. To me, the heart of the appraisal gap strategy is showing that if you under appraise, I've got an option for you where your cash to close and your payment remain the same. I think that's the secret sauce. And I would have added that column in there. And then just from a, if you want to just coaching people on it, is that, she was pointing out the down, the cash to close, but I know every realtor's thinking, well, what about their payment? What about their payment? So maybe talking about, she threw the payment in at the end, but maybe highlighting that as you go through. If I was talking to client through it on my TCA, I'd be addressing cash to close, and I would be addressing payment and then cost over time, right? I would always default back to whatever that appropriate time frame for them was, but typically that 60 months, those orange bars over on the right that we all look at all the time, every day.
Yeah, and that was another one. Remember, guys, always show cost over time and tie it to value, because that's where other loan officers can't compete with you. I mean, first of all, they don't have options. They don't have interaction. They can't stream a video into it. But when you start showing cost over time and you start showing strategies, now it's like, unless they're a black belt in mortgage coach, or in this case, everyone we have on this stage is a grandmaster, they can't compete with you. Like, they just can't deliver that level of advice. And I'm going to share a keynote at the Modern Mortgage Summit. We're going to open it up around this, but the punchline to the whole presentation, we're going to talk and walk realtors through the fact that it was just a couple years ago, if you're a real estate agent, that this is what the competitive field looked like for you, and this is what it looked like. And then Zillow came around, and guys, today, if you're a real estate agent, this is the competitive battlefield. There's disruptors. Lenders are in the mortgage space. Disruptors are in the mortgage space. Employee-based companies are in the mortgage space. Who's next? I think it's just a question of time, and it's not going to be multiple years until Home Depot or Lowe's is in, the real estate space. And so, the real punchline to that is you need to be an advisor. And I wrote this down from the stage of Inman in New York in 2017. Mr. Disruptor himself, Richard Barton, said, "The agent of the future is a coach and advisor to home sellers." So kind of a closing thought, like from a macro standpoint, you need to go a little beyond the norm. You heard from Keith. Call listing agents. Do it for yourself. Do it for your buyers. It's how you're going to get market share. And then be a coach. Be a mortgage coach for every consumer so that they have transparency, clarity, and confidence. So we've gone 3 minutes over. I think there's a couple questions in here that if you just rewatch this video, which will be in our YouTube channel in a matter of hours, I don't think you'd have that question, like, what is appraisal insurance? Keith netted it out. Also, there will be his video. It will play at the Modern Real Estate Summit. So kind of a closing thought. We want to make sure anyone who still wants to get tickets, just go, we'll put a link down below. modernresummit.com is where you can buy your influencer passes. One ticket is $99, 25 tickets is $1,000, and 100 tickets is $2,500. And guys, it's not too late to give out 100 tickets. We've got a lot of loan officers that are, text videoing, calling agents. Keith, what percentage of the agents that you kind of like, hey, would you like a ticket to this event? Do they like, yeah, I'd like a ticket to the event? Like, how is that going for you?
Every single one.
Oh, I mean, seriously.
Every single one. So I've done 3 different things, right? So we're doing a watch party where we did an Eventbrite, that's more of a bulk. And so, it's not every single one there, but every single, and then I reached out personally to my key agents. Every single agent that I reached out personally to absolutely wanted the ticket. And then I've done a few different things on social media where I've shared videos either on my stories or on Facebook, and I've probably gotten 20 or so private messages. I'm throwing numbers out here, but I got to think at least half of them are agents I'm not working with asking for a ticket. And so, I'm not getting a lot of pushback that I don't want this. It's pretty awesome. There's some ridiculous features.
Has anyone given you the I'm too busy, Keith, I can't be there live?
I haven't got the I'm too busy. And I saw that in a comment standpoint, but then I would pivot and take that as an opportunity. What's got you so busy? How can I help, and how can we assess? Like, let's do a gap analysis of the agent to figure out, really, are they too busy? They closing 2 transactions at, this month and they're too busy, or are they closing 30? There's a difference.
Yeah. And remember, guys, this is an opportunity to get into conversations with agents today. And so we also released a new 1-minute commercial. It's in the Facebook group here. Also, it's available for download in files. So in the file section of our Facebook group, you can get this 1-minute video, push it into social media, and just nets it out. Also, there is, for all of these, we have topics. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this little topic tab over here, but we've got Modern Real Estate Summit. So if you click on that topic tag, I think there's about 15 different posts where you want to hear how Michelle Castle, what she's doing, 1 minute. There it is. That's what Michelle's doing. You want to see a commercial, and you want to see what Craig is or what Keith Collins is doing. Check it out. So there's a whole bunch of content in here. You want to hear what Amber Kovar is doing. 1 minute and 12 seconds. You've got all that stuff, and you got the resources. So again, guys, our goal at Mortgage Coach is to change how families get into debt in America. When they get into mortgage debt, they should have the transparency of cost over time. And we want to help them optimize. We want to help them optimize their offers, optimize their homes. And you cannot do that without a mortgage coach. So Todd, take us home, bro. I'll give you the last minute and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, this was super solid. Keith, as always, you had a ton of value. I think Dave, you did a great job of leading us through it. And I think those videos we showed were great examples of it. The last thing I would add in there, if you're getting the pushback on people being busy, the pass contains access for 30 days. Afterwards, they can go in there with micro content. The big key is really just to get people to accept the pass now, because then they'll get all the notifications as we get to event time from Leader Pass, and it'll just be the reminder to them to get in there. And so I think that's the one area where, I would coach people. The agents, the LOs that I'm talking to and the leaders that I'm talking to are having very little issue overcoming that I'm busy objection with the 30-day piece. I think the biggest key is just to get people to accept the pass now. Literally, they just have to type in their email address and a password and they're good to go, because you don't want them to wait till Wednesday morning before the event time to blow you up trying to figure out how to get in. I would just tie a bow on this because you saw some great examples. Go back, rewatch those. If you're not going to attend the Modern Real Estate Summit, you just saw some of the great content of how the Mortgage Coach ambassadors are going to be representing you out there, and watch them again. Start using those in your day-to-day. Take the advice that, me, Dave, and Keith gave as the American Idol judges. I mean, those were great people, and there's even a little room for improvement there, but they're great. If you're even half as good, you're going to be crushing it for your clients and for your partners. So as always, super honored to be here and have you guys all tune in on a Friday and hear what we have to say.
So 4 days, 13 hours and 51 minutes, biggest agent event of 2021 is going down. If you want to be an influencer, just again, Modern RE Summit, go to the bottom, click on the influencer pass, and you can either get 125 tickets or 100 tickets. And if you want more, we've sold a number of 500 ticket packs. So if you want more, let us know. And then remember, guys, I would love one more video showing a true move up analysis. So Keith, challenge, if you want to get me something by Monday. Anyone, if you want to get me a badass video by Monday, we might get it in the show. So this call is a wrap. Keith, thank you, brother, for all the love and value you bring into this community. And thanks for making time to be here today, brother.
Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Take care, everybody. This call's a wrap.